Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. Today's lesson, I'm going to probably refer to it as using an opening statement. I think it's Bill O'Reilly uses on his show, and he calls it, "You are about to enter the no spin zone." So I'm going to show you how, I'm going to talk about some of the things that can get you spinning your heels and doing the wrong things, and so that make sure that hopefully you're going to see these things, how they sound really good on paper, they sound really good in magazines, they might sound really good with the guy on TV talking to the announcers, but you have to start thinking, does this conform to physics? Does this conform to physiology? Does this conform to the peak performance golf swing? And I'm going to show you a great example of this so that you don't get in the spin zone and get spun around the wrong way thinking you're doing something great because it sounds really good, but if you don't answer those questions, you don't ask those questions and get an answer, yes, that it does conform, then you don't want it. This is, I get Golf Week magazine, all right? This is Golf Week magazine, January 27, 2012, and it's an article where they started doing these things where they introduce a player and his teacher, and they talk about the improvements that the player has achieved through his teacher making changes in his setup and his swing, all right? And because everybody's always interested in wanting drills, right? We always want drills. The question I always ask is, people are always asking for them, but I don't ever see anybody doing them out on the range. So I guess hopefully we're doing them at least in our basement or garages or in our bedrooms or something, if we're not doing them on the golf course. But here's one where they introduce a drill. And the reason why it stuck out at me was because when I read the title, the title of the drill is Belly Driver, Improve your release and impact. And they're doing a drill that I always talk a lot about, to find out that you're making the proper turn and returning the club back to impact. And I've always said I like to take the driver because it's the longest club, and you put it in your belt buckle. In fact, I'm going to read the article and I'm going to show you what they're saying and how I say it, and how they're basically doing two different things here. Again, it's called Belly Driver, Improve Release and Impact. It says this student was he also makes practice swings starting with the driver. It says pictured right, where you see him holding the driver like this at one point in the swing, and it says he chokes up on the driver until the butt end touches his belly. So he puts it at his belly and then he grips it up here like this, and he's going to swing from there. The drill forces his right elbow to fall on the backswing and improves his release. I agree with that, because if I'm here and I get into my perfect setup in the master setup position, in the arms under, once I start swinging, it's the elbow's folding exactly where it does, but we're only going to turn to the toe line, and then we go up and the club stays vertical, okay? The drill forces his right elbow to fall on the backswing and improves his release at impact. This player, the teacher wants the club shaft to point just left of his body, almost in line with his left arm and wrist. This mimics the proper impact position. The club's butt will hit the player's belly if he flips his hands through impact. All right. Now remember what I said. They said that if it hits his belly, he's flipping his hands through impact. All right. So they want the butt of the club, and they have a picture here of him. They have a picture of here where at this point he's in this position, and they want it to be there. They want the club here. So he's holding the club going through. That's what I call lag, drag, hold, block. That's a don't go left swing. All right, so this player is obviously a rotational player. He starts here on the belly. He comes here, and then he holds it, and he turns out of the way, and he wants the club over here, pointing up his arm over there. Now, so it never came back to the belly. Now, this is the way the Serge does this drill as a Serge drill. I start here on the belly. I'll start and do it forward. I take the club to the toe line, I lift up, I come back to impact, and I return it to the belly, to the belt buckle. Now, they just said in that article that if you do that, you've over-released and flipped the club. But watch what happens. I come here, I come back to there, and I come straight on up where the right arm gets over the toe line. I didn't over-release. I released perfectly. The club comes back to the dead square. Now, if you tend to take the club inside, and you suck it inside too much, guess what happens? It comes off the belly, but look where the shaft is pointing. Then you come up in here, and then if you come over the top, guess what? It doesn't come back to the belly. if I take the club outside and do this, it can go that way. I can take it outside and come across and do that. The only way it comes back to the belly is if I go to the toe line, straight up, straight down, it's back in. It's already back in here as I turn to impact. And so if I start here, nice square club at impact, over the toe line and up. So this might sound like a good drill. If you've heard me give this drill and you forgot what I said and read this article and you try to do it like that, guess what? You are not making a peak performance golf swing. And the odds are, if you practice that swing and you get that down pat and you stand up in here with a driver or any club and you hold on to that thing and come through there, that ball's going that way. All right, so if you're the camera and I'm hitting at the camera and I come across and I come into there, that ball's starting out there to the right. Unless I really do get here and flip. But again, if I really flip, what's going to happen? If I come do this and I come back to impact and I flipped it too much, it won't go on the belt. But if it comes back to the belt, you'll be dead square because your arms always swing in front of your body and they always touch at 12 and 6 o'clock. We're bringing it back to 6 o'clock, just like if you lift your arms and drop them and they slapped, and if you're square to the aiming line and you do this, boom, you're dead square. So be careful. You don't want to end up in a spin, you want to be in a no spin zone. You want to be in the right zone. You don't want to get yourself spun around by some of these things that really look great and could, in many cases, be a drill or a tip that sounds a little bit like us, but really think them through sometimes, because if they don't pass that litmus test of, does this conform to physics, does this conform to physiology, that's why it's so important for y'all to have gotten the manuals and all the other things, so you understand, like, everything is built on physics and physiology. The peak performance golf swing is the only one that conforms completely to physics and physiology. The only swing taught out there. And so when you ask those questions, if it doesn't conform, in the trash it goes. Because everything we have it works exactly the way physics is, and your body was designed by God to respond to physics. All right? And so you can't have a little bit of physics and a little bit of body. You've got to have them both melded together. It's not one or the other. It's got to be both. And our body is designed to conform to physics. Because physics are the laws of the universe. They were here before anything living and breathing. And so that's why, boom. So and you do the belly drill. It is a great drill, but it should come right back to the belly every time. And you come right up over the thing. And notice when you're doing this, where is the club? It's straight up. This club was pictured over here. It's straight up, straight down, and then straight back up on this side, right? So what are we doing? In the end, in a vertical swing, the club is pointing down the toe line. It never is pointing, the club up the top is never pointing at the ball or above the ball, because that would be laid off. We want to be vertical, so if we're vertical here, the club is running the toe line. When it's up, and then going back up on this side, okay? So, remember, give yourself the litmus test when you're reading things that might sound good. If it passes the litmus test, it conforms to physics, physiology, it's okay, and you can find all of that stuff in all the manuals we get out there and in all the videos, because everything we do always conforms to physics, physiology. And when you stay with those two things, you'll be doing the peak performance golf swing, and you'll be hitting it more solid, straight, longer, and shooting those lower scores. So let's play by the rules. The number one rules is physics, physiology. Adhere to those, and you'll be playing better golf. That's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking to y'all soon.